Okay, it being 5 p.m., the Lafourche Parish Council meeting of August 24, 2021 is hereby called to order. Ms. Carleen, can you please conduct roll call?
Yes, sir. Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Adams. Present. Mr. Groh. Here. Mr. Melvin. Here. Mr. Wendell. Here. Mr. Arabi. Here. Chairman Oteng.
Here.
Mrs. Chasson. Mr. Lorraine. President Chasson.
Here. Thank you very much, Ms. Carleen. If everyone would be so kind as to rise, we'll be led in the invocation by Councilman Groh, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Melvin.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Dear Lord, please watch over us tonight. Keep us safe weekly with this COVID outbreak. Keep our troops safe. Bless all the people in Afghanistan. And let's recite the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. With COVID being so prevalent, if anyone is uncomfortable in sitting in a group of people, we do have a lot of open seats on this end. We also have some masks up at the top of the room. In addition to that, if anyone is wishing to address the council tonight, we do have some blue sheets by the door entrance. If you would be so kind as to fill it out and get it up here to the council clerk, we'll be certain to recognize you. But in addition to that, on all ordinances, we will ask for public input, so anyone who wants to speak on an ordinance is welcome to do so. Resolutions, however, will only be discussed among the council members. So during the period of wishing to address the council would be when you want to address any resolutions that you may be interested in. With that said, we'll jump right into tonight's minutes. Item A, approval of minutes. Number one, I entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the August 10th, 2021 regular session. So moved by Councilman Wendell, second by Councilman Adams. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item B, we have none. Item C, are there any state and or federal legislative updates from any legislators in the audience? We have none. Item D, certificates of recognition. We have none, Mr. President. Item E, presentations and or updates, none scheduled. Item F, legal advisor report, none. And item G, engineers architect report. So we have any engineers, architects want to come up and give a presentation? Just remember state name and address for the record, Joe. I think the mic's not on. I have no idea.
I don't know that one.
Robbie, what we got?
Got it? All right. Joe Picciola with Picciola and Associates, 115 Picciola Parkway in Cutoff. I did a handout, also did a presentation, and technical difficulties, can't get it on the screen, but the first project is Choctaw Levee Rehabilitation and Permitting. We've been going at the permitting for this project for about 2 years now. We did get concurrence with the state on mitigation and also rehabilitation and alignment of the levee. We had been in discussions with the Corps for a long, long time with no response. My feet are sticking to the floor like. I finally got a call last week from the Corps saying they're ready to talk about mitigation after 2 years. So they're supposed to be sending us information. The part of it is that you get the Corps and the state to agree on how much mitigation you do, and then you can assess from there how much mitigation we're going to have to purchase for the damages. Part of the project is also relocation of the levee and restoring some of the marsh, and then also other part of the project is elevation of the roadway from the pipelines going back to the canal. So any questions? I know, Boo, you got some, you were questioning some of it. Okay. All right, so once we get that information from the Corps, we'll work with DPW and administration to come up with a solution. On the Airport Connector Road and Bridge, this project is a project that the parish has some money together with the port, also with the state and a federal grant. It consists of a vertical lift span bridge in Galliano at Airport Road, and then connecting the airport road through the bridge to LA 3235. We received bids late last year. Sealevel Construction out of Thibodaux is the contractor. We did give them a formal notice to proceed on August the 8th. They have begun working on relocating of utilities and some demolition work of the existing structures on the property. We do expect them in early September to start driving piles, the test piles in by Lafourche, and also working on drainage work along LA 3235. So this is a 3-year-long project. It's slated to be complete in 2024. So you'll start to see some significant progress in the next couple of months on this project. On the Nolan Tubes outfall drainage project, this project consists of cleaning some outfalls on the north property line, which is the old La Coca property. There's a new landowner now. The parish is in, the administration is in talks with them about right-of-ways, and the idea is to sweep out the outfall canals all the way from the pump coming back to the front and relocate the swale ditch on the back side of the residences to provide drainage, all along Mar Drive and through the cross streets. On the Go to Better Boat Launch, this project consists of a new aluminum fishing pier, somewhat similar to the Lyheap fishing pier, but smaller, in the basin by the pump where everybody likes to fish. And then also we're going to do improvements to the boat launch ramps and the wharves. The boat launch ramps, in the summertime and at times of high tide, you get water, so every time you launch your boat, you got to get your feet wet to go get your boat. So we're going to elevate that, and we're going to put in some new wharves. We've already done all the project surveying, about 80%. The plans are about 80% completed this time. Once we get to 95%, we'll have a meeting with the administration to discuss the details and then go out for bid. And Sugar Ridge Pump Station, this project is installing some new sheet pile and some trash racks and a new foundation for the pumps. In the inlet canal to the pump station, they had a lot of failures of an old bulkhead. So we're going to shore that up with some new bulkhead and put in a new trash screen. We'll try to use the existing pumps or some modification thereof. But we'll fix that up so that we get good flow into the pumps and tie in the two lateral ditches into it. And then finally, Road Sales Tax District 2, the priority road list 2020. So we have a list of streets that we're working on right now. There's an amendment to our contract to add 4 more streets to the project. We've done all the surveying work on the streets that we have a contract for now. We're probably about 60 to 70% complete done with the plans for those streets. Once if we add the streets that we were talking about today, we'll hurry up and do those. And once we're complete with the plans, we'll meet with the administration and go out for bid. Any questions?
Thank you, Joe. Anyone? Go ahead, Bo.
Hey, Joe, thank you. You know what the total rough guesstimate cost of this Choctaw levy business is, roughly?
The last estimates we had were somewhere around 1.25 to 1.5 million.
Does that include fines and everything the parish had to pay?
Well, I think there was no fines anymore, but there is a substantial amount of mitigation. That's the big cost.
And President Chancellor, what's the estimate on that, you think?
As far as time frame to complete?
I'm talking about money. I'm talking about mitigation.
I mean, part of it, I think when the last administration was here, they had budgeted some of it out of the existing GOMESA funds that were like the pre-bond money. Some of that is still existing, so we'll look at a combination of that and probably either general fund or royalty.
Okay, because I know that, last DA in office had looked into some of this, because my concern, again, is taxpayer dollars. And I know that I'm told machines don't operate themselves, and I know, Joe, that you just happen to be taking care of this, and I appreciate it because you're fixing what was goofed up. But levees don't be built themselves and move themselves, and taxpayer dollars is having to go to fix this, and it just another project that I see we having to put money into to fix what we shouldn't have to have being done to begin with. But thank you, Joe, I appreciate it.
I can tell you that when we were talking to the previous administration, we hadn't had a lot of talks with this administration about the project in detail, but there were some parts of the project that could possibly be done in-house by parish people, relocating the levees. Now, There's some planning that has to be done for rehabilitation of areas that were damaged. That would have to be done by an outside contractor. And then, of course, the roadway work would have to be probably let out for bid in Rhodes Hills Tax District A. But
Right, and again, thank you for your expertise, Joe. You go in to fix things, that something was messed up along the way, and we still haven't gotten any names, but again, that's just kind of how it is, unfortunately, sometimes.
okay.
Ms. Boudreaux?
How do
Ms.
we get
Chesson.
I would like a list of the roads that are getting taken care of in priority road list. How do we get a list of those streets?
It was on my presentation. Yeah. on the
We could send them to you.
You could send them,
Yeah,
email?
and if you, yeah, we can do that. They were in the, I believe we listed them in the initial contract with Joe, so we can find the item and send it to you. That's easy.
Yeah, okay.
It's,
How many roads are there?
it's like 7 or 8.
7 or 8? Okay.
Tonight's ordinance is only adding some in
Four.
in District 9, right?
That's right.
So there was some existing projects that were already in the capital budget to do some streets. So what we're trying to accomplish here is some economies of scale, right? If we bid out those 4 individual streets, you gotta pay 4 different mobilization costs. If we do it as part of this big project with Joe, we should see some substantial cost savings.
Mr. Adams?
Do you have any idea how high you have to raise the road?
2 feet.
Okay.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, Joe, on that airport connector road and bridge, the office, that's gonna be torn down, right?
That's right.
On the buy side?
That's gonna be done pretty soon.
I
I mean,
Yeah, they tore the house down.
Tore the house
I'm
down.
assuming the office is next.
that's right.
Now, the next question is, I know you can't tell a contractor what to do, but I'm sure they're gonna work on the road and finish the road way before the bridge, I would assume.
Their plan is to finish the roadway before they finish the bridge. But they have a lot of drainage work to be done on 3235, on LA1, and some work to be done on 308. So the drainage work has to be done before the road work. But they're subbing some of that work, that roadway work out, and it's all being done by the same person, the drainage and the roadway base. So
But the drainage off of LA1 is very bad in that area.
that's correct.
Toward the back, it's a lot better. But it's to cross the road, 32, 35, all those covers are too high. I've been telling them that for 30 years. And
We are replacing 2 sets of culverts that cross 3235.
oh, yeah, okay. 308, it's not too bad right there, the drainage.
No,
And that's it.
okay,
That's it. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
thank you.
More engineers and our architects? Okay, with that said, we'll move to item H, public wishing to address the council, public hearings, agenda items, et cetera. Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Torrance Hampton, if you'd come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Mr. Hampton, please remember you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council. Torrance Hampton, 146 Leonard Street, Raceland. First topic, speed bumps from Leonard Street, St. Louis, St. Philip, Market Street. They had an incident over the weekend just happened. A young lady lost her life. She was 9 months pregnant, baby also didn't make it. Young man was going too fast. Been preaching about this for years, about speed bumps. Stop signs don't help at all. That's a waste of time. Need speed bumps. I mean, not the speed bumps like maybe like 2 foot, they need them like 4 or maybe 8 by 12. You just have to slow them down because they're going entirely too fast. You still have elderly people besides kids that's still in that area. And it's making it hard because my mom, my dad, a couple of other retired people on Leonard Street, they complaining now because they're passing up and down the streets too fast. And also, another topic, the break-ins. I know it's not so much y'all issue, but to address the sheriff department about it, it's getting even worse. You know, so you have all those things going on, and the speeding is even worse. Even if you like, I'm on the strip, and I watch everything pass by me every day. Same little incidents, you know, it's everybody is going too fast. What about cameras? We can address that too. Yeah, I know it costs, it does cost. But the thing about it, we got to make something happen, because we got to slow them down. They're going too fast. We don't need another incident to happen, somebody lose their life behind somebody that's going too fast in that neighborhood.
Good points, Terrence. Anyone have any comments? Terry?
Yes, sir. Mr. Hamp, I have received several calls since that accident the other night. And I'm already on top of it with the sheriff's department. I met with them yesterday.
Okay.
And they're gonna do the surveying that it needs to be done on, well, we talked about Io, St. Philip, and St. Louis.
And Market Street, it's the most important, Market Street, definitely.
So I can add Market to it also, but, there's a certain procedure that, they have to do
Yes, sir.
to justify for speed bumps, and they're already gonna start working on that.
Okay, and also, if you can address them about the cameras at the lights. We don't have two lights in Raceland, but I mean, it's still a big issue. You still have trucks, big trucks coming through the area too fast. You got cars. I mean, it's a lot. I see a lot.
You're talking about on Highway 1?
Yes. I can address a lot, trust me, and I can hold up 10, 13, 15 minutes up here, but I'm not gonna hold y'all time. But the thing about it, it need to be addressed. Cameras must be addressed too also, if you have opportunity when you talk to them again. Think about cameras too also.
We sure look into it, see what we can come up with.
All right. Any other questions?
Thank you, Terrence. Appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it. Thank y'all.
That's all.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Brings us to item I, public hearing and ordinances for ratification. I now entertain a motion to open public hearing. So moved by Mr. Wendell, second by Mr. Adams. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 2, ordinance rescinding ordinance number 5270, which established a four-way stop at the corner of Country Village Drive and Lytle Drive, Lockport, Louisiana, Ward 4, District 7, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, and to also remove the four-way stop signs which are located at the corner of Country Village Drive and Lytle Drive. Councilman Araby will move on my behalf. Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Adams. Would anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance number 2? One time, two time. Last call for comments on ordinance number 2. Anyone from the council? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 3, ordinance amending ordinance number 3633 as it pertains to signage changes at the Lockport Boat Launch, Ward 4, District 7, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, installing the necessary signs and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Councilman Araby will move on my behalf. Can I get a second? By Councilwoman Chesson. Would anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance number 3? And I'll just state this is in relationship to all the changes we've made at the boat launch. Now most of the old diagrams signage doesn't fit. Second call for public to comment ordinance 3. Last call for public on ordinance number 3. Anyone from the council like to discuss? Mr. Groh.
I agree with everything, and it's a shame that we have to put all these laws in, but we're gonna have, what kind of sign? It's gonna look like getting a Bayou billboard or something? I mean, it's gonna be a pretty big sign.
Yeah, so what this does is this allows Dylan to address the issues through signage, and with there being penalties thereof. Is that correct, Dylan? That's what we discussed
This
anyway.
is multiple signs, right? Like, 'cause
Yes.
one about the parking, one.
So most of this was already in place, but what happened is when we added a floating dock and we added, we rearranged the parking, some of those distances are no longer relevant, so we had to adjust but anyway, you want to make any comments on that, Dylan?
I'll just say this kind of clears it up. It's confusing whenever you have all of these laws and go with distances, and not everybody goes and reads all of these ordinances. So if we say as per the signage on site, it's a lot easier for them to say, I see the sign, I know if I can or can't park here. Does that clear it up?
Yeah, I mean, we could do all the signs we want, people, unless we get cameras and start enforcing some of these things. I mean, when they were doing that work, which I much appreciated late in the last week, we got our guys out there, we got the cranes, we got the barge, we got the freshwater district, and we got residents rolling up with redfish sticking out of a garbage, they're getting ready to dump it where they're working. They're like, dude, look at the sign. What you mean I can't dump here? Like, it ain't gonna work. We can put it all we want, the mooring stuff. We gotta get the sheriff's department on board to enforce these laws and get these cameras, or we're wasting our time.
Agreed. Thank you, Councilman Grill. Any further discussion on item 3? There being none, we'll move it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 4, ordinance amending ordinance number 4607, reducing the speed limit from 25 miles per hour to 20 miles per hour on that portion of Waverly Road from Maywood to Talbot Avenue, Highway 3107, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 1, District 1, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, provided providing for the placement of speed limit and speed check by radar signs and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Moved by Councilman Jones.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
at this time, I'd like to defer it to the next meeting. A simple reason, that we're meeting with the Sheriff Department this week on the results of the traffic calming devices, and then we'll move from there. If it's
Copy that.
qualified
So
for it, then
Mr.
we'll
Jones is
put
moving it to the date of September 14th. So item 4 has been deferred to September 14th. I'll also comment, Mr. Jones, I received 2 calls of people that were against changing. They said it's more of an enforcement issue than there is a speed limit issue. So I'm glad the sheriff's office is already involved, sounds like.
Yeah, I've received those calls also.
Good deal. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Item 5, ordinance approving a servitude agreement between Ridgefield Incorporated, represented by Harold M. Block, and Lafourche Parish government in the Thibodaux area, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Wendell. Would anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance number 5? One time, 2 time. Last call for public on item 5. Would anyone from the council like to discuss 5? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 6, ordinance amending ordinance number 6488 that amended ordinance number 6473, which adopted the 2021 operations and maintenance budget and capital outlay budget for the Lafourche Parish Council, as well as setting the salaries of unclassified employees as provided for by Article 5 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Ms. Chesson for the administration. Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Adams. Before we move on that, we will move to item A, the amendment by Ms. Chesson for the administration, and the amendment is here. This is an amendment from the floor to item number 6 by Councilwoman Delane Chesson. The amendment is to change the hours for the maintenance technician from 70 hours to 80 hours, correct annual salaries for 2 teachers, 1 HS substitute teacher, and 1 food service technician. Change the job title from food service technician to food service technician nutrition assistant, and to correct the annual total. That's your amendment from the floor. Can I get a second to that amendment from the floor? Second by Mr. Wendell. At this time, we will entertain the public's comments on the amendment from the floor. If anyone would like to comment on the amendment. If anyone's not clear, I can read it again. Thank y'all. Very good. Second call for public, last call for public. Would anyone from the council like to discuss the amendment? There being no discussion, we'll move to a vote on the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes with 9 yeas, 0 nays. Now we will resort back to the original ordinance, item 6, as amended. Would anyone from the public like to comment on item 6, ordinance as amended? 1 time, 2 time. Last call for the ordinance as amended. Would anyone from the council like to discuss the ordinance as amended? Mr. Grove. After the vote. Okay. Anyone else like Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, this is mainly, we talking about Head Start, right? Because I looked through it and I didn't see anything else but Head Start. And I know it's all federally funded, but I just find that Head Start, they get raises all the time, from what I see. I mean, we always voting on giving them more of an increase, and I'm not going to vote against it. I just feel that we have a lot of other parish employees that, and I know it's out of a separate kitty, but with Biden in there, he's going to give them the world. That's just my opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Mr. Grove.
My question was just, it was worded in one of the whereas that we're eliminating some positions. Oh, is the head count changing? Has people lost their jobs, or are we just changing titles? Like for instance, we have the health, disabilities, nutrition manager is now called student services health manager. Is it just renaming? Did we get rid of anybody?
Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So some of it's being absorbed through attrition. Some of it's just some combination of people, so we don't have to advertise for another position. We've kind of figured out we can double dip with some of these fine ladies and have them do a little bit more. Get rid of one teacher or one assistant. That's right. So nobody, it's not like we did a layoff or anybody lost their jobs. It's either attrition or a combination.
Thank you, Mr. Grove. So any further discussion on the ordinance number 6 as amended? There are none. We'll move it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. I'm sorry. There you go, Ms. Carleen. Item 7, ordinance providing for a 2021 supplemental appropriation 21-026 within the 2021 operations and maintenance budget for the Cooperative Endeavor Agreements with the Tourist Commission and Fletcher with funds from the fiscal recovery funds and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. So moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Would anyone from the public like to comment on ordinance number 7? One time, two time, last call for public on ordinance 7. Anyone from the council like to discuss? There being none, all in favor?
Too fast?
Mr. Grove, you have the floor on item 7.
Okay. Is 7 roped in with number 26?
Mr. President?
Resolution?
You want to answer that one?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me figure out what 26 is.
The CEA with,
The resolution.
moving to Thibodaux.
Yeah, so if you guys remember, right, we approved the agreement with the Tourist Commission at the last meeting. The supplemental we knew was going to be voted on this meeting, so we got I see Dr. LaBeouf in the back. We finished the legalese with them, so we put it on this agenda because we missed the last deadline, but they are tied together, yep.
How so? One's for Thibodaux funds to start something different, and this is for recovery tourists.
So there's, the supplemental is to move the money out of the fiscal recovery fund, the Biden money, into 2 separate projects. One for the Tourist Commission that you guys approved last week, and then one for Fletcher that's later on down in the agreement.
Okay.
250 some odd thousand that went to the Tourist Commission, and it'll be about 200,000 that's going to Fletcher to help expand their Thibodaux campus to help with workforce development.
Good to go. Any further discussion before we move it to a vote? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9, okay, 1 abstention, I'm sorry. Be 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention. That abstention being Councilman Wendell. I'll now entertain a motion to close public hearing. So moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Melvin. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item J, proposed ordinances. Mr. Wendell, you have the floor, sir.
Item number 8, proposed ordinance providing for a 2021 supplemental appropriation 21-027 within the 2021 operations and maintenance budget and capital outlay budget to increase the budget for fuel costs and for the fuel tanks projects 21018 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter by Mr. Jones on behalf of administration. Item number 9, proposed ordinance providing for a 2021 supplemental appropriation 21-028 within the 2021 operations and maintenance budget with the coronavirus state and local physical recovery funds signed under the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter by Mr. Jones on behalf of administration. Item number 10, proposed ordinance providing for a 2021 supplemental appropriation 21-029 within the 2021 operations and maintenance budget and capital outlay budget for the COLA awarding for Head Start employees and for the purchase of ViewSonic boards, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter by Ms. Chasson on behalf of administration. Item number 11, proposed ordinance approving an acted donation between the Lafourche Parish Government and Lafourche Parish School Board for the donation of 3 640-square-foot portable buildings and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said donation and any and all relative documents by Ms. Chasson on behalf of administration.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Wendell. Brings us to item K, resolutions. Number 12, resolution requesting the Louisiana State Fire Marshal to not enforce in Lafourche Parish reinstatement of the statewide mask mandate effective as of August 4, 2021, issued by Louisiana Governor John Bell Edwards on August 2, 2021, proclamation number 137 JBE 2021, moved by Councilman Adams. Can I get a second? Second by Councilman Wendell. Any discussion? Vice Chairman, if you would assume the gavel, I would like to discuss this one. Okay. Just turn your light on. Right, you're in charge, big man. So for me, having known the State Fire Marshal for about 30 years, he's a very honorable guy, Butch Browning. He is not an elected official. He's an appointed person by the governor. So for me personally, there's no way I can ask the State Fire Marshal to honorably not do what his boss is telling him what to do. I will say, though, that I am 100% in favor of each individual parish handling the masks as they so choose. So I do agree with that. But I just want to say my comments about asking someone who for 30 years I've really cherished as an honorable guy. I wouldn't want to ask him to do something against the will of his boss, essentially.
Again, it's just so he doesn't come out here, say if you own a bar or a restaurant and your patrons and you feel that you don't believe that they should wear a mask, he can't come there and try to shut down their business, you know what I'm saying? Like you say, they come and tell him to do it. That's what this is about. It's pretty much giving everybody back. If you want to have the mask, it's up to you. Nobody can come and enforce it on you.
Thank you, Mr. Wendell.
Back to you, sir.
All right, appreciate that. Any further discussion on this item? Mr. Melvin?
I agree with Mr. Otan that I think I'm still trying to, have a little liberty in the country where we need to still make our own decisions. I think most people are adults when it comes to this, and I think you're asking the wrong person, Thibodaux, so I think, well, but there's somebody above him who's pushing it. So you're asking the wrong person. That's just me personally. I'm not saying I don't agree with what your motives are. It's just, again, I like a free country, but, so.
Thank you, Mr. Melvin. Mr. Jones?
Yes. If Lafourche would pass this resolution, the governor is in authority of everything. What would be the repercussion from the governor? Come down and shut everything down? Penalize some people? I don't think we can override this. The governor emergency fund request. So I'm gonna have to vote no on this. And COVID is a very serious game here now. And more people dying and this is the young. So if people don't want to wear the mask, that's fine. If they don't want to get vaccinated, that's fine. But the people that's wearing the mask and getting vaccinated, they should have a choice too. So I don't see the purpose of this.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Any further discussion? Last call.
I mean, I'm not.
Mr. Adams.
It's not telling them not to wear the mask. It's up to you if you want to do it or not. I don't want somebody coming out here and forcing you to do it. I'm not saying don't wear one. I'm not saying do wear one. I'm just saying I don't want nobody coming here and try to enforce it on the people of Lafourche Parish. That's what I'm saying.
Very good, Mr. Adams. Okay, there being no further discussion, we'll move this one to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Nay. Ayes, raise your hand. Mr. Adams and Mr. Lorraine goes against the governor. So it'll fail by a vote of 2 yeas, that being Mr. Adams and Mr. Lorraine, 8 nays, the remaining council. Clear enough on that? So the motion fails. 7, I'm sorry. I said, so two yeas and 7 nays. We got it recorded, we're good? All right, so motion fails. Item 13, resolution reappointing one commissioner to the Veterans Memorial District, Ward 10 of the Parish of Lafourche Board. Ms. Chasson for the administration. Who do you have, Ms. Chasson?
We have one vacancy, one reappointment, and I'm proud to announce Mr. Erwin Bouvier.
Mr. Bouvier, can I get a second for Mr. Bouvier? Second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 14, resolution appointing one member to the Recreation District Number 11 Board. Mr. Wendell for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Wendell?
We have one vacancy, one applicant, Mr. Adam Nooney Otan of Bayou Blue.
Mr. Otan, I got a second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 15, resolution reappointing one member on the Fire Protection District Number 8A Board. Mr. Adams for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Adams?
Valley Martinez, Jr. I think I'm saying that.
Martinez, we got a second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas and 0 nays. Item 16, resolution reappointing one member to the Lafourche Parish Communications District Board. Mr. Adams for the administration. Who do you have, Mr. Adams?
Chris Boudreau.
Mr. Boudreau, can I get a second? Second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 17, resolution approving amendment number 2 to the agreement between the Louisiana Housing Corporation and Lafourche Parish Council Office of Community Action for the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, LIHEAP, fiscal year 2021, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion on item number 17? Mr. Lorraine.
Did this go to the advisory board or not? The last time the advisory board met was on the 11th, and they didn't have a quorum.
Mr. Jones, you have the answer for that?
No, they didn't have a quorum, Mr. Lorraine, but if you notice on item 18, on last meeting,
Yeah.
that the resolution was stated that in emergency situations, we give the authority to the council to move, to get these small amendments dead. It's a problem of having a board meeting September 16th, and your funds need to be spent September 30th. So, in order to lose $2,700 or $2,800, we amended the resolution to state that the parish president and his council can approve the amendments from the CSBG fund.
So we just assume get rid of the advisory board, and by law, you really need that board.
We know we need the board, Dan, but you know.
Mr. Jones, you got a short memory. In the previous administration, every time something like this came up, you were the first one to say it didn't go to the advisory board.
Exactly right, Mr. Lorraine. But you've been on here 32 years.
That's
and
exactly.
did it ever have anything in place not to go to the advisory? And now we do.
No.
Item 18.
I'm going to abstain.
Understood, Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, let's vote.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jones. Any further discussion, number 17? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And one abstention. So the motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention. That abstention being Councilman Lorraine. Item 18, resolution approving amendment number 1 to the subaward grant agreement between Louisiana Workforce Commission, Office of Workforce Development, and Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action, to receive and administer the Community Services Block Grant Fiscal Year 2020 CARES Act funds to provide assistance to low-income families in Lafourche Parish in accordance with state requirements, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Wendell. Any discussion? Mr. Lorraine.
Same thing, huh? None of these went to the advisory board? None of them? Abstain.
Copy that. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention. That abstention being Councilman Lorraine. Item 19, resolution approving amendment number 2 to the subaward grant agreement between Louisiana Workforce Commission, Office of Workforce Development, and Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action to receive and administer the Community Services Block Grant Fiscal Year 2020 CARES Act funds to provide assistance to low-income families in Lafourche Parish in accordance with the state requirements, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Adams. Any discussion? There being none, we'll move it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? You abstain, Mr. Lorraine, on this one? Abstain. So motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention. That abstention being Councilman Lorraine. Item 20, resolution approving amendment number 1 to the subaward grant agreement between Louisiana Workforce Commission, Office of Workforce Development, and Lafourche Parish Council, Office of Community Action for the Community Services Block Grant Fiscal Year 2021, funds 10/1/2020 to 9/30/2022, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for administration, second by Mr. Wendell. Any discussion? There being none, we'll move it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention. That abstention being Councilman Lorraine. Item 21, resolution approving amendment number 1 to the agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Picciola and Associates Incorporated for the project titled Priority Road List 2020, Road Sales Tax District 2, Road Improvement Project, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine for the administration. Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Wendell. Any discussion? Only question I have is, should we consider Industrial Park Road where the road is starting to fill, where you have the bulkhead that's starting to fill? I'm really concerned about that one. That's been on the discussion for a long time. Mr. President.
By all means, Mr. Chairman, if you want to make that amendment to throw that in there, we can throw that in there.
All right. Mr. Wendell, would you please assume the chairman?
Certainly. Mr. Otang, you have the floor.
Okay. So I would like to amend item number 21 with the following statement, that we include the stabilization of Industrial Park Road at the intersection of Bayou Lafourche and the Intracoastal Canal where the bulkhead is failing.
Okay. Okay, second by Mr. Lorraine, and that's for the amendment from the floor on the bulkhead. Any discussion? All in favor on the amendment?
Aye.
Any opposed? 9 yeas, 0 nays. Back to the original.
You want to take it? Okay, so now I'll move on the resolution as amended. Any discussion on the resolution as amended? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Thank you. Item 22, Resolution approving change order number 1 from Sealevel Construction Incorporated for the project titled Cyprian Drainage Pump Station Improvements, increasing the contract price by $627,890, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Wendell for the administration. Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Adams. Mr. President, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we noted in the agenda summary last week, and as we've talked about before, we dyno tested the old engines, and they weren't going to live up, I think, to the standards of what we were going to put as far as pumps on the station. So we gave Sealevel the okay to basically move forward with getting quotes on some new engines for the pump station as well. So this is the change order that'll actually allow them to go ahead and put the engines on the station.
Any further discussion? Mr. Melvin, you have the floor.
How many engines?
3.
And they, $600,000?
Yes, sir. That's what happens when you buy like real stuff that should have
faulty.
went on the pump station in the first place and not after the fact.
I'm gonna vote for it because I know it's gonna help people, but again, it's just.
I'm with you. I'm completely with you.
I just got a real bad taste in my mouth after we spent, I don't know, $4 or $5 million.
Thank you, Mr. Melvin. Mr. Lorraine.
Is that pump station gonna hit 10 million?
No, we'd probably be close to about 6.5 or 7 when we're done.
Because I was gonna recommend that we change the name to the $10 million pump station.
I can guarantee you after though, as soon as we turn the key on, I'm definitely bringing a priest to this thing and we're gonna have it blessed. I can promise you that.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Thank you, Mr. President. No further discussion. We'll move this one to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Is anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 23, resolution removing Daniel Lorraine as a council liaison of the Library Board of Control and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Councilwoman Chesson will move on my behalf. Can I get a second for the administration? Second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? Mr. Lorraine.
Yes, first of all, it's very vague. It's just saying you want to remove me. And haven't missed that many meetings. I think I'm probably the only liaison that made more meetings than anybody else. And sometimes you agree and sometimes you disagree, but I was really upset, and we can agree and we can disagree. I was upset when I got an email from Mr. Chasson, the parish president. It says, and I got this on August the 16th. Removal, Daniel Lorraine, Library Board, sponsor Orman Lotan. Thank you, Orman.
You're welcome, sir.
This resolution was submitted by me after the events of last week's council meeting. Up until last week, I had no problem with Mr. Lorraine being the liaison, even though he had been very outspoken against the director and the board as of late. However, after he objected to the 3 items from the floor out of pure spite, it proved that he only cares about himself and not the greater good. That is not how I run this administration, and I'm sure not how the other 8 of you feel. I will not have someone like that represent me or this government as long as I am in office. Therefore, I'm asking that Mr. Lorraine be removed and I will take on the role. Well, first of all, this was a personal attack. He's telling you guys how to vote. It's in black and white. But, you know, this has, the 3 resolutions that I opposed were time sensitive. They weren't time sensitive. We voted on them tonight, 2 weeks later. Don't take me off for something I didn't do. If I wouldn't attend the library board meetings, that would be a different story. I talk about the director. I talk about a couple of people in there. Allegedly, they make more money than your parish administrator now. Your administration. They make way more money. You got a finance person in there making big money, and the parish does all the finances. Come on, gentlemen. Now, if you want to remove me, that's fine. I'm going to tell you like this. Vote your conscience, but what I did had nothing to do with the library. Not one thing. And I can tell you this. Whether I'm liaison or not, I'm still going to make the library meetings, board meetings. You know, and I was a little disappointed with Mr. Chasson from sending me that email. Sometimes you can call me. We could talk. I mean, we might not agree. Look, Jerry and I don't agree on a couple of these issues. But we still gonna talk. So, all I can tell you is, vote your conscience.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Any further discussion? Mr. Grove?
So, you're gonna assume the role as an ex officio type thing, okay. And we still get to make appointments to the board based on who's coming off on and where they are. You know, I'm almost hesitant to mention. So, Archie, you've been pretty critical, like, you know, that's the issue with Mr. Lorraine talking about, you know, the different salaries and stuff. I shouldn't say critical. You've been at the table and have brought some things to light, and Thibodaux as well, and, you know, so, but I think it's been a good discussion, you know, and they've come forth with rolling back some stuff, and, you know, and at least we've got some good communication going, so I don't think we're gonna lose that, you know, we're watching you type of thing, and not that we should be, you know, the library does a lot of good services up and down the bayou, but it could be good that, you know, that we have you there, because I know you're gonna have the good parish's interests, and you know the financing stuff that we or the roles that we support, like you mentioned with certain things with HR and things like that. So I don't think we're gonna miss a beat, you know. And if you're gonna still attend, you'll be able to raise your hand, and you know. And if I start getting the agendas, I'll forward them to you if you're not getting them. So I don't think we're gonna take a step back, especially if you hadn't been invited.
Thank you, Mr. Grove. Any further? All right, we got some lights popped on. Mr. President, you have the floor, sir.
And I will say in response to Councilman Grove, the reason I re-interjected myself kind of last year was when we did get critical of the library and how things were going. But additionally, we as the administration have the responsibility of all the change orders, everything that comes across the council's desk for you guys to approve. And at the end of the day, my signature has to end up on that. So if I'm going to end up signing this stuff, I want to make sure that me, Mitch, or somebody from the administration is there and knows what's been going on. So I've been making most of the meetings. I think the last one I missed was when they discussed her evaluation. There was really no point in me sticking my nose where it didn't really belong in that realm. But it's really for us to re-engage in some of these projects to make sure we can help track the finances as well.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Jones.
Yes, Danny, if the parish president Archie wants to resume, to take the responsibility of the library, why don't you just resign? You know, and let it go. I never threw in the towel in my life. Vote your conscience.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Any further discussion? There being none, we'll move to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Nays, raise your hand. Mr. Adams and Mr. Lorraine vote nays. Motion passes with 7 yeas, 2 nays, that being Mr. Adams and Mr. Lorraine. Item number 24. Resolution approving an application for federal assistance in the amount of $2,992,341 for the purpose of operating a Head Start program and authorizing the parish president and council chairman to sign, execute, and administer said application and any all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Chestnut for the administration. Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Araby. Any discussion? Mr. Lorraine.
So this is the amount that they're getting to run the whole year?
That's their operating budget. Anyone wants to confirm that? Mr. President?
Yeah, so this is the federal grant award. We always, we give them X amount of dollars every year to help supplement certain things, but this is their federal grant award.
The parish subsidizes a lot, you know, like culverts, driveways, whatever, to fix some of their playground, whatever. You know, nobody sees that part.
Thank you, Ms. Lorraine. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 25, resolution approving a contract between the Division of Administration and Lafourche Parish Government for waterline upgrades along North Willow Street, Lockport, Louisiana, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said contract and any all relevant documents. Mr. Araby has agreed to move on behalf of the administration, second by Ms. Chesson. Any discussion? Mr. Lorraine.
Is that,
Lockport Heights.
They're putting down these lines like for the fire hydrant?
No, this is actually a water line for the residents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can't get the water district to just do for fire hydrants. I wish we could.
No, but what I'm saying
that's been the battle for 30 years.
If you look throughout the whole parish, they take certain streets and they run a 8, 9, 8, whatever it is, with fire hydrants. That's not the case?
So what they're doing is they're redoing the actual water lines, and the hydrants are just an add-on.
Right.
So you see the new hydrants, but it's really because they haven't installed a new water line.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a win-win for us because once again.
No, I know that for the fire.
We're always in a battle.
Okay.
So this is in the Lockport Heights community. Thank you, Ms. Lorraine. Any further discussion on item 25? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item 26, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish government and Fletcher Technical Community College to provide reimbursement for the costs associated with the expansion of Fletcher's Thibodaux campus and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones for the administration, second by Mr. Wendell. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? One abstention. Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention. That abstention being Councilman Wendell. Item 27, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and GIS Engineering LLC to provide engineering services for the Valentine Pontoon Bridge rehab project and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Can someone move on my behalf? Mr. Wendell moves on my behalf, second by Mr. Adams for the administration. Any discussion? Mr. Adams.
So they're gonna remake it. They're gonna renew it. Is that what they're doing right here?
That's a long answer. Mr. Chesson, can you give him a short answer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, it'll be a brand new pontoon and new approaches.
Okay.
Yeah. For the record, it's been out of commission since 2016.
I know.
So we are getting, if you guys remember, right, part of the bond money that we just did in Road Sales Tax District 8 is going toward this, as well as a commitment that we held on to that the late great Representative Reggie Bagala was able to get out of DOTD for about $1 million, $1.5 million.
Yes. It's one of his signature projects, so we do appreciate it. Mr. Lorraine.
Yes. This has been like this for 6, 7 years. And the thing it takes when you're going to fix something this big, it takes money. Money's the issue. All I want to say is it's needed. It should have been done a long time ago, but they didn't have the funding. So now we're going to road sales tax and whatever. I just want to caution you, I'm not an engineer, but the cutoff bridge was done from just about scratch, and this one is worse than the cutoff bridge. And 15 years ago, it cost $4.5 million. 15 years ago. So you better get some jack. You better have more than $5, $6, $7 million. Nothing on there is good, I can tell you that right now. And anybody just got to go look at it and you can tell that. But it needs to be done. But you better get ready, more than $5 million, I can tell you that. And that's all I got to say. And I'm going to vote for it because it needs to be done.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. I will say the state is the driving force on what exactly is going to be done. No further discussion. We'll move it to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas, 0 nays. Item L, Parish President, Department Heads, Directors, or Managers' Reports, Presentations, and or Updates. Item 28, Finance Representative to present the monthly financial report as required by the state agreed upon procedures for July 2021. Any comments, Mr. President?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So if we can get the TV to work, unlike we unfortunately did for Mr. Picciola, you'll be able to see Renita's presentation because we're at that quarter mark. So if we give it 1 second. There we go. Sorry, Joe.
Funny how that happens, huh, Joe? It's like magic. Poof. Okay, he's gone. Soak this in.
The first slide will show royalty revenue. We did the comparison for the second quarter. In the second quarter 2021, LPG had received $265,643.57. In 2021, the second quarter shows an increase over 2020 second quarter, and the percentage was 34.29% of an increase. Next slide. District A, Road Sales Tax District A. We received in the second quarter $1,539,855.78. You also see in the second quarter where we had an increase over 2020 second quarter. The percentage is 26.70. Road sales tax 2 also saw an increase over 2020 second quarter of $714,876.93 that we received. It was $116,049.46, which is a 19.38% increase over 2020. Solid waste also saw an increase over 2020. We received $2,167,992.18, with an increase of $407,248.22, which is a 23.13% increase over 2020 second quarter. Parish transportation, there was also an increase over 2020. We received $157,632.60, an increase of $34,255.87, with a 27.77% increase over 2020 second quarter. General fund ending balance as of the second quarter was $8,210,209. The reason why you see that high number is because of the recovery money that we received. When we move to the third quarter, you're going to see that balance go down because that money will be transferred out to cover the projects that are going to be in place. Next slide, drainage. $594,079.23 is the ending fund balance as of June. The library ending fund balance is $9,034,969.03. Solid waste ending fund balance as of the second quarter is $3,120,025.35. Royalty ending fund balance as of the second quarter, $2,984,587.33. The next slide shows comparisons over the last 3 years. As you can see in parish transportation, 2021 is the highest year in royalty. We are coming in second place as in 2021 as the second highest year for parish for royalty. Next slide. You have the comparison for all the sales tax districts, and when you look across for road sales tax A, road sales tax 2, and solid waste, we are the highest in all for the last 3 years in our sales tax collections. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Renita. Does anyone have any questions? Mr. Lorraine?
Yes, for the public to know that road sales tax A and road sales tax 2, A is 1 penny and 2 is half a penny. That's why you see a difference. We're only collecting a half of a cent, and they're collecting a cent, and we're not that far behind them.
Yes, that's correct. And also, it's road sales tax 2 is for 2.5 districts, or actually maybe even a little less than that, and then the other 6.5 is in E.
Right. But I mean, when you look at the figures, you say, well, why they're not collecting as much? It's because we cut it in half in 2008, before Archie was born.
Anyone else has any questions for Renita? Thank you very much, Renita. We appreciate it. Item 29, Brooke Huddleston, Head Start Director, to present a report. I'll also go ahead and make a statement at this time that the minutes that the council members, I would like to state for the minutes that the council members have received a copy of the Head Start annual report and the program information report. That's something that's required for their grant stuff, so we're just making a statement. Everyone should have gotten that by email. If you didn't, then give them Ms. Carlene because something's wrong with your email. Brooke, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman Outlay and the Council. Tonight I provided you with the 2020-2021 Program Information Report, the self-assessment of the 2021 Summary Report, and our 2021 Annual Report that we are required to present to the public. The program information report just takes our program statistics in regards to family services, children, health concerns, mental health needs, nutrition needs, and enrollment. The self-assessment summary report is something that the team has put together amongst the council, community, school staff, and central office staff, or main office staff, that we look at the strengths and weaknesses within the areas of the program, facilities, nutrition, enrollment, and, and volunteerism. And the last one is our annual report to the public. And the annual report is very good. The annual report states that we have increased in all areas, emotional, social, and instructional support. It also shows during COVID, we were one of the few in the nation, and I say few, hundreds to thousands in the nation that remained open through the COVID term. So we had a great attendance of 86% or above on a daily basis. And we also had our nutrition count that was good within our health and wellness area. Our medicals were in the 90 percentiles and above for medicals and dentals. And other than that, we received superiority reviews from Dallas. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions? Mr. Grove?
I do. I don't know if it was when we appointed Ms. Huddleston, Jones, you had mentioned like, oh, we need to keep it in-house, you know, as long as we keep it, you made a statement like that a while back about Head Start. Remember that? You did. You did.
I'm glad he does it.
And Brooke, it's maybe unfair because you just, you hadn't been in this position that long, but you did have a prior life in the school system. And, you know, the council being the governing board of this, you know, and it's quite a big responsibility that we rely a lot on the Head Start Policy Council. And we've been at it with 30-something years, I guess. But my question is this better in the hands of the school board?
So, look,
I'm not trying to get darts thrown at me, but I mean, that's the people that do this stuff on a daily basis. You know, I mean, it's just a question based on her coming from that side.
Yeah, so, Mr. Chairman.
And you guys have been around when it almost flipped years ago. I just have,
Mr. President, go ahead.
So I will say that discussion comes up every so often. I don't want to say it wouldn't be better served by the school board, right? Because they're a great group of people. But I'm not going to say that the people we have sitting out here, plus the teachers and the staff, are greater. These people bust their butts every day for our students. And I will tell you, during COVID, during a search for a Head Start director, I've never had any ambition to be a school board superintendent or a principal, and I sure as heck don't after that. Having Brooke and our Senate directors, I know Miss Mary and a few of the other ones in the audience tonight, you know, there's a big difference between, I think, what we do in Head Start and even normal pre-K, right? The certifications for our teachers are different. The specifications for classroom and licensing are much different. I've had those conversations with Mr. Martin from a school board perspective, and my comment has always been when he's asked me about it, it would be extremely hard for me to come here and say, guys, let's give up a program that's exceeding expectations from Dallas, that has an overall morale rating right now that's through the roof as far as kids and staff. I'd be very hard pressed to say, hey guys, let's give that up because I just don't want to deal with it. Or I think somebody can do it better because we always do everything better.
Yeah, it's not a knock. I mean, we have some really good employees. And look, I mean, the chain of command is probably shorter than the school board, and you can get things done quicker and things like that. And you can go to the policy council or to administration or to the council. They've been very transparent before Brooke, you know what I mean? So I've got no issues with it. I just know it's been the elephant in the room for a long time. And Brooke coming from school board setting and education for a long time, it may be early, but I think she can give us a good assessment of that. That's all I'm putting out there, you know.
Mr. Grove, addressing your questions. Thank you, Chairman Otan. We made a lot of changes within the Head Start program in the 4 short months that I've been here with the support of the Head Start staff, Senate directors, and main office staff here. We've listened to our policy council. We've changed curriculum. We changed our screening tools to match and better match that of the school system so our children don't have that hard transition when they are moving into the school system. The school system is very excited and happy we have moved to these components because it cuts down the working time and what they have to do. We also increased technology. We are working on our buildings, but what we have, the school system can't ever grab. the medicals, the dentals, the mental health care, the health and wellness, that is something the school system always zest and yearn for, and they can't enforce or have. But with the federal applications and the personnel we have here, and most of them are here this evening, we achieved that. Having a 94% medical exam rate and physical exam rate and a 91% dental rate at 3 and 4-year-olds is amazing. The average rate that they ask you to achieve is 85%, and this staff and this district has achieved 90% or higher almost every year. We are doing class assessments, and again, we've bridged some jobs, so we put jobs together so that we can better service those students and we can better service the staff. So we are making a transition, and the school system seems to be very excited about it. We are doing a better job of working together with our Type 3 centers, our daycare centers. Ms. Misty Perry is on our policy council. So we do a lot with the networking. We have become a bigger and better part of that network in the short 4 months. We are going to be in the clasp of the district in regards to class assessments, and our teachers do a phenomenal job. Couldn't say anything or any more or any better with our center directors there for the support. So it's just become a happy marriage all around, but what we have, they want, and they can't enforce. So thank y'all for taking this on and being a part, and we will do our job to make sure that everything is great and good, and we're partnering with the community, school system, daycare centers, and every other facility that we can find to make sure we're tapping into the community and servicing the best we can.
Does that answer your question, Councilman Grew? Councilwoman Chesson.
Yeah, I've been liaison now since I got in here, and I was there when the change happened, and there was, I just want to congratulate Brooke really on bringing this program to where it is. It's amazing to see what's going on, the morale that's happening with the staff, with the teachers. I know everyone was excited to get this year started, and now that it has, that enthusiasm has just grown even more. So great job on the program. I'm proud to be Head Start liaison, and let's keep this year going forward.
Thank you, Councilwoman Chesson. Mr. Lorraine.
Yes, when I first got on the council, the school board had the Head Start. And if I remember right, I think it was Dr. Galliano when he was parish president. Of course, he came from Nichols, and they didn't want it anymore. So the parish took it, and they've been having it ever since. And you can look at it all kind of ways. You know, the parish government is mainly roads, bridges, and drainage. Head Start is school. But I mean, you know, they didn't want it. They had it, and they didn't want it no more. So the parish took it. And that's where we're at today.
Thank you, Mr. Lorraine. Mr. Jones.
Yes, I'd like to thank Brooke for coming here and really improving the system itself. Back in the days, Head Start was classified as more of a babysitting service. Now it's an educational program. I thank the Policy Council for their effort in improving the teachers. And I visited the sites. I visited the sites today. And I can see the difference. The kids are more happy, the teachers are happy, and it's more of an education system, and it's getting the kids ready for first grade, hitting the ground running. And again, they form different partnership with different entities. Head Start working with Community Action working with Head Start. They're going out there, reaching out to the Sheriff Department, the school system. So it's really coming together right now. So as of this time, I much rather see Head Start with Lafourche Parish.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Okay, thank you very much, Brooke. We appreciate that. Brings us to item M, discussion. Mr. Lorraine, you have the floor first, sir.
I'll be very brief and short. Mr. Chesson, or do we have somebody in South Lafourche at Community Action, the office?
Mr. President, you want to answer that?
I'm going to look at Amanda.
As I spoke
Come up, why don't you come up to the mic, Amanda? Come up to the mic.
Yeah, just state your name and address and who you are for the record, Miss Amanda. So we can get it on the minutes.
I'm Amanda Matisse, address 1449, Highway 304, Lot 2, Thibodaux, Louisiana. And I'm the Executive Director of Community Action. And Mr. Lorraine, we had spoke on Monday.
Sure.
Yes, and so as we had discussed, we had a staff change. We're in the process of filling that position. We do have Erica going to South Lafourche on Mondays. And Miss Nanette, who was there previously, I know you're a fan of Miss Nanette, she has agreed to go 1 day a week. And then we're gonna hire new staff that'll be down there 2 days a week. So it's just for us to, we need to fill that.
So we're only gonna be open people there 2 days a week?
No, 4 days a week. Right now,
Four?
right now it's 2.
Right now it's 2.
Yes, sir.
Because let me tell you, the people like Lynette.
Mm-hmm.
People loved her to death. She helped a lot of people. But for some reason, they took her from down there and they shipped her to Thibodaux.
Right.
And from Thibodaux, they shipped us one that didn't last very long. She wasn't doing a very good job in Thibodaux, and they sent her to us, and they finally got rid of her. So now we're stuck with nobody. But they took the one that we had that was doing a great job that everybody liked. She'd help everybody.
Yes, sir.
So you
yes,
see,
sir. We're gonna get you
you know,
somebody good down there. I promise.
So I just want to make sure we get 4 days. I don't care how you do it, but just get the 4 days.
Yeah.
Because I get the calls when people go and there's a note on the door, you got to drive to Thibodaux or wherever. They don't really care for that. And I did have a good conversation with you, and I want to thank you because the guy that I told you to call, he was very impressed. And that impressed me because I know how he is. But he talked highly of you, and you really helped him.
Thank you.
Okay.
And we'll definitely take care of you down there, I promise.
Okay, thank you. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Lorraine. Nothing, Ms. Chesson? Mr. Araby?
Oh, yes. I have a couple of things. For Dylan. Dylan, can you give me an update on the right-of-way for the Gaines Outfall Canal by the fire station, please, sir?
Mr. Dillon, you got an answer for that?
Yes, so I know you reached out to Mr. Tony Bro. He is trying to help us get in touch with the landowner. As soon as we get in touch with the landowner, we're going to request that they give us a right-of-way. If they do, we'll split it as we previously discussed, half and half on each landowner's property. If not, we'll go back to the drawing board, and I'll keep you posted.
Okay, did we make any headway with the right-of-way on the Pelican Outfall with the DA and seeing if we can have both property owners sign the right-of-way for us to clean that outfall ditch?
No, sir, I gave you an update on that last week. We're going to have to figure out who owns what property. They can't give us property that they don't own for a right-of-way. So we're going to have to figure out who owns what, and then once it's determined as to who owns what, then that person can, in fact, give us a right-of-way.
All right, Mr. Chasson. I understand that, I know we voted on the camera system last meeting. And I know we're putting some cameras in the Marydale Abbey area, if I'm correct. Well, can we add some cameras for the Highway 1 project in Raceland that Mr. Hampton is talking about?
No, not this budget cycle. So it was the 50,000 that Councilman Jones had originally put in for Marydale and Abbey got expanded to include 3 boat launches, Layton, Lockport, and Butch Hill, the pump station and the launch. And we actually went over budget on that. So we ended up shifting some funding around to make it happen. I'm not opposed to including some additional funds. And I'll kind of pitch this to all you guys, right? I know Renita's wrapping up the budget. I think we're supposed to meet next week or week after to kind of finalize everything to present to you guys. But if you want to talk about cameras in your particular districts and trying to add something, now would be the time to do that so we can look at it at the beginning of next year.
But I definitely want to see about putting a camera system in the heart of Raceland, shooting both ways towards the bridges, if possible.
Yeah, I would think we need to confirm that with the sheriff's office. That's already done, taken care of, and they're also monitoring it, so they have to be in agreement with whatever we do, correct? I just want to make sure I'm correct on that.
No, you are. And they may, I don't know, I know there's cameras up across the parish in certain places. I don't know what they have in that particular, they may not have anything, but that's a conversation we can have with the sheriff's office.
Yeah, regardless, they're going to be manning it, so we got to make sure they're on board wherever we go.
We don't want to give them 300 cameras to have to watch.
I'd like to. I mean.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, you know, if we can put them up in other subdivisions and everything else, I'd like to try to see about putting one up that area also. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Araby. Mr. Melvin.
Yes, I was just wondering if we're getting caught up on, I see things getting done. I mean, anything else broke? Any tractors broke down or any machinery?
Mr. President, or Dylan want to answer that?
I don't know how much time you got, Bo.
Well, again, I mean, I see stuff getting done. I just know it's catching up, and I appreciate your text before the meeting.
Yep.
So, again, just keep
So
trying.
we are, I think Dylan's got a good lead time on the 3 tractors for the Thibodaux area that are all at John Deere getting fixed. We have been kind of shuffling tractors in from other barns. We stole one from Councilman Adams in Choctaw. We stole one from Councilman Wendell in Bayou Blue. I know you don't appreciate it, but I did it anyway. To bring up, to kind of catch Holiday in some other areas that you had requested, to try to catch up on some work orders.
Okay, maybe I'll put a tractor in the budget for 4 then. Thank you.
What I was going to do is I think the 2 that are supposed to go to Galliana are in, so we're going to manually drive them down to Bayou and just cut grass on the way down to Galliana.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Grew.
Yeah, along those lines, I want to thank Dylan and Archie and DPW. We did have a few days of some dry weather to where we could do some of these pending things that were really getting pressing. So I thank y'all for jumping on those in that little window we had in northern part of the parish and taking care of a couple of things for me. So second thing, look, we're blessed to have Fletcher and Nichols, and you're not going to find many bigger fans of Nichols than me. But we're giving money a lot to people that, we need to start investing ourselves, like both saying with the tractors and stuff like that. I made light of it last thing about buying, cars versus tractors. We really need to see some stuff on the agenda. At least order it, because it's probably going to be on back order anyway. These things, we need to invest in ourselves with some equipment, tractors, drainage. At the end of the day, that's what people calling us all about, and then, approve something for Nichols, and somebody's like, man, what the heck are y'all doing? And they don't know that the communication that we have behind the scenes and the not collusion by any means, but the transparency of y'all putting the agenda out as well as a summary and not, encouraging us on certain things, or just, hey, you hear it for a question. So we don't have to air all this stuff out, but, I called you about I call y'all, I'm sure everybody else does, and we air this stuff out, so it's not all out here, or nobody's blindsided, and but it's something that's kind of been wearing on my heart, like, man, we got to get some equipment, and I'm super blessed to have Fletcher. I'm happy when I read in the comment that they get money from, Nichols programs, and then when Miss Amity was here talking about the state money coming for this TOPS for adults, this is awesome things. It's not a knock on any institution, because I could say it about other things, or people could say it about me for turf fields and things, and I'll say this for youth, but we really need to get some tractors. That's the main point with that. Another thing, COVID updates. This is not a political stance or anything. I'm vaccinated, and me and my family, that's what we believe, and I can agree to disagree if people don't want to get vaccinated. I would like to have someone come or make a request that if we have every meeting, somebody can talk about the status of the parish, preferably not a medical professional, just somebody that's saying the facts. This is how many beds are being used. This is what we got going on in the parish. I think it would be good for the public to hear that. There would be not a Facebook message or, just hard evidence of, hey, it's getting better, we're getting over the hump, or it's getting worse. I'd like to have that on the agenda. I don't know who's going to come running and say, I'll take that job, but, you're getting the state numbers if we could just put it out there, or if, at least just get on the state site and show that timestamp of what it is that day. So. And then last is this weekend's the boat parade, and kind of celebrating the removal of the the boat launch, the buoy, downtown Thibodaux. So it starts at Layton. I think the boat lineup is at 1:45. They have, if you go into Friends of Bayou Lafourche's website or their Facebook page, as well as the Bayou Lafourche Freshwater District, and we've been sharing a lot with the parish. They have 5 bands. They start in all across bridges and on the side. They have stuff at Jean Lafitte to the Nichols new launch. But they have Daiquiri Queens, one of the bands, Harley Talbot, members of Good Feeling, Teddy Bodway and Lonnie Laperouse, John Degg, and then Waylon Thibodaux and Gina, I believe, will be in a boat. So they, you can rent or reserve canoes, and kayaks, and paddle boards will be out there. So hopefully we get some good weather. I think it's supposed to start at 2, but like I said, it'll be a good event. And you're welcome to launch in Lockport or Grand Isle and come all the way down. It doesn't, I'm sure the locks won't be closed. So. I hope not. The water's low.
Right, so we did get a notice yesterday that they are monitoring the water levels for the water district. So hopefully.
Yeah, you might have to come back.
Thank you, Mr. Grove. Mr. Wendell. Mr. Adams.
Yeah, I got a couple things. So, both of you, how fast can we push them to get 307 cut? Highway 307 grass cut? It's over my car, and my wife, we were in the truck the other day, and it's a 4x4, and it was up to the top of my window. Is there any way we can push them? Or I got better yet, don't we have a resolution or ordinance for grass height? Can't we push that to them to make them pay to get the grass cut or something? Because it is ridiculous.
Mr. President?
Mr. Chairman, I know they started on some of the ancillary roads. Councilman Araby had this, and I had the same conversation like last week about Highway 654 going to Gaines. So we'll check in. I mean, we could reach out to Teresa with DOTD and see what their schedule is to get them there.
It's bad. Number two. Now you turn your mic back on. You know what I'm asking. Where's my land?
So what Councilman Adams is referring to is there's a piece of property adjacent to the Chag Bay Ballpark that he has some money in the capital budget to expand. We've been working with a local attorney to try to figure out how to get it. The succession's never been opened on the property. There's 100-something heirs to the piece of property. So what we have found is one of the daughters or granddaughters of the original property owner has agreed to sell us a stake in the property. And therefore, we can petition the court to get the rest of the piece of property. So we've made contact with the one granddaughter. Dre is working on that. I wish I had a better timetable. I'm saying give me 60 days so I don't look bad. And we should be able to petition the court to get something done.
All right, because T-Boo's Fun Emporium, park right, that's going to be awesome. That's why I'm naming it, Renita.
I will tell you that we met with an attorney last week, and he did bring up that subject, so the president is working on it. Mr. Jones.
Yes. Mr. Archie, can I get an update on the west side drainage for the city of Thibodaux?
Mr. President, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I talked to the mayor a week or so ago, I guess, and he has most of the right-of-way issues worked out. So that should be going to their council pretty soon, and we could start working on the swale ditch from Bobby Street, or the city can, from Bobby Street onto the back to Talbot to tie into the big ditch. And then I think we have, and you and I had this conversation, I think Monday, and I didn't get a chance to talk to Dylan in the staff meeting, but we'll engage a firm that can help us look at the back half of the overall west side project that was part of the big CDBG project years ago.
Yeah, because we returned money or moved it to another project, and this project wasn't completed. It wasn't halfway completed. What about the main arteries getting to the canals? All that's going to be incorporated in it?
Yes,
okay.
sir.
All right. Next item, the sports complex, but the Mr. Queen,
yeah.
Did they ever get back with you on the land?
So I didn't. I know they were in the process of forming their 501c3 status, and I told them after they did that to come back and talk to us, that we'd be able to do something because at that point they're a nonprofit. They're not just a group of guys that were trying to get something done. We do still own the property across the street, so there's some opportunities for some partnerships there, but I haven't heard from them in a few months. I don't know if COVID stifled their run or what happened.
I don't know. All right, last, we got the quotes for the cameras for Meridian Abbey and the boat launch.
Yep. So I talked to Jason when Jason had a conversation with the port guys and the sheriff's office today. 90% of the actual hard equipment, the cameras and stuff, has been received by the contractor, Expert Technologies. The port guys were actually here today to upgrade some of the servers in the back. That they're going to let us use some of their stuff that they had extras of down the bayou. So they're starting to set that up. So we're close. We're close.
Within the next month or so?
I would hope so.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mike, let me go back to year 2-1. I wholeheartedly agree with you about the equipment. That's why we pushed so hard to bond out the money. Dylan is working on that, not only with John Deere, but another tractor manufacturer, see if we can get some better deals on that equipment so we may be able to get some more of it. One of the things, and one of the reasons why I say I pushed so hard for the Nichols and Fletcher agreements and the one with the Tourist Commission, because it's coming from that federal dollars, right? It was meant for people who had revenue losses. And you're right, they don't see the back and forth between, you and I and the rest of the council. They're not in the conversations with, JT from Nichols or Chandler out in the audience and Dr. Strickland. So it's hard, and maybe, I guess I've gotten in a rhythm. I send those agenda summaries out so you guys, we all know what's going on, and I forget to talk about it during the meeting sometimes. But I wholeheartedly get it, and you're going to see some equipment purchases coming pretty soon. That way we can order this stuff, especially the tractors, so that we know they're here for next summer's grass cutting, because there is a time lag. But Secondly, if you wanted to add something as a COVID update on the agenda, we can. I will tell you that so far this week, we've had 375 or 357 cases. A bulk of those came yesterday. We get the 3-day numbers. We don't get numbers on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So we had about 100 cases each day. Today was about 54 region-wide. So Lafourche, Terrebonne, Assumption, St. Charles, St. John, and St. James. In our region, there's 178 people in the hospital. I really like to point out this stat that of those 178 people, only 19 of those people in the hospital are vaccinated. Proves the vaccine works, guys. I talk about this every week. Martin has me on, typically with Gordy, and we do a kind of parish update on HTV. And I give that stat every week because it for those anti-vaxxers or people who don't think it's effective, yeah, you might still catch it, but the odds of you ending up in a hospital on a ventilator and a casket are severely limited at that point. So 19 of those people are vaccinated, 178 people. 59 of those 178 are Lafourche Parish residents in the hospital, and unfortunately, I'm trying to blow it up, there are 32 people region-wide on a ventilator. That number has kind of steadily increased over the last several days. I don't know why. I don't know if people, I don't know if any of those 32 are the 19 that are unvaccinated. They don't break it down that far for us. As far as hospital beds go, we're pretty well at capacity. I think we probably have one available in the parish if you look at it. Now that's staff beds. That's not their actual space. That's ICU beds that they have kind of hospital staff for. And then if you look at it by admit, so specifically hospitalizations by age, the main group of hospitalizations are that 30 to 70-year-old group. There are only 9 pediatric admits over the last 24 hours. We had 43 in their 30s, 45 in their 40s, 60 in their 50s, 75 in their 60s, and 57 in their 70s. And it dives back off in the 80 plus because most of those people are vaccinated. So we can do this every 2 weeks. I don't mind doing it. If you want to put an item on the agenda, Mr. Chairman, or I'll do it in my report every week with the data that we have. We're going to get on Wednesdays. They update the parish-wide positivity. So last week we actually jumped up. We went from 17.5 after seeing a slight decrease back up to 18. We'll get those fresh numbers tomorrow. So once I get them, I'll send them out to you in case you're interested.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate that update. And I have nothing. Moves us to item N, adjournment. I'll now entertain a motion that there's no further business. Lafourche Parish Council regular meeting August 24th, 2021 will be adjourned at 18:27 hours. So moved by Mr. Adams, second by Mr. Jones. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 9 yeas and 0 nays.